flat to me, so I'll stick with that's flat.
It does make sense without some curve making mechanism like, curve making, ball making, gravity. Most people would default to the Earth being flat and level. Without gravity, you can't stick to the underside of any shape. So if we're not seeing curvature or these, orbits in our every, maybe it's flat.
So let me. You're on the bottom of the ball then.
You need gravity to stick to the underside of a ball.
You're on the other side of the ball.
From a flat Earth perspective, you just be on the top side of a level, flat surface.
Are you on the other side of the ball from me?
This is already off to a terrible start, and thank you, London, for that. Thank you much.
Thank you for poisoning the well and talking about rational beliefs.
We need to read it. He said bottom. That's funny.
I'm a 13-year-old boy.
Yeah, top and a bottom. Unless your mind's been mangled by the notion that there is no top, bottom, or any,
Here's a problem. Nothing's going to fall off the bottom of the ball unless something pulls it off. So you do believe in gravity?
No, I believe we're on the top of a flat surface.
Why don't we follow up?
Hang on. Quick question. How do you know it's the top? Where's the bottom?
Up is heaven and down is toward the earth.
Yeah, why don't we fall towards heaven then?
Sideways?
Even if we fell sideways, we'd just be asking, what sideways gravity or whatever, the question would just shift. You'd always ask yourself what makes the structure of reality what it is.
No. We're not asking we're not asking what is gravity. We're asking if you observe it happening to you, which you clearly do.
Let's keep talking to John. We already know Lemon's position.
Yeah, it's upside down.
John, I got a problem with the claim you made for multiple reasons, but let's just start here. I'm from New Zealand, right? So I'm the most extreme on the ball in relation to, in my observation. It's completely upside down. Now, I've heard every flat earth argument for it. But let me demonstrate that for you just a second. Can you see the chat box, John?
See Stephen Colbert. Oh yeah, there you go.
Right.
Yep.
So that's New Zealand. Okay, go.
Chemo seems really triggered right now.
Yeah,
I see the moon. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so that's New Zealand's moon on the right, and that's Illinois' moon. That's the super moon in May that we had, right?
Mm-hmm.
And basically, if the moon's going to do that, it would have to be the same moon for everybody, and we do see that the size doesn't change and all the rest of it. And the flat Earth excuse for this is that it's a 6 on the ceiling, and then the people can see a 9 from their position. But if you use any logical deduction from that claim, you'll know that it has to be an ellipse somewhere between to make that transition from the 6 to the 9 possible. And no one on the Earth sees that. Instead, what they see is a perfect horizontal moon at the equator, something this.
Yeah, I hear you.
So you've got to argue that point along with the star, along with the non-obstruction that we've already seen, and also you brought up the black swan, and I'll finish on this point. The black swan is a momentary observation that happens in certain conditions and then disappears. Now, if something was constantly flat, we would see that black swan wherever we go, and in fact, we don't see that. Along with the fact that the rigs themselves are distorted, twisted, and bent on one day and not on another. So something that's not constant can't be reality. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. So there's a few things to deal with there. First being the moon, and I don't know a whole lot about the moon. I haven't looked into it a lot. I don't know what the moon is. I don't have an explanation for the moon, but and I don't assert a particular model. All I know is that it's not a spinning ball beside a sky vacuum.
But you don't know what it is. How can you make the assertion?
I can make the negative assertion that it's not in a second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuum.
What?
It doesn't violate it, does it? That's an assumption it violates it.
There's no violation.
No,
I'd like to ask you about that.
Are we up to date here, or is this a little bit out of date, chat room?
You mean,
dude, we have debunked this stuff for years, like at least 3 years. You're way behind, buddy. The fact that you're saying you don't know what the moon is, you're way behind.
And yes, we're fully aware of all of Nathan Oakley's catchphrases. So it's you should be very proud that you've learnt them.
I was gonna say,
we know them too.
It was almost like I was on FED again.
So, but do you have any contradictions? Like, do you have any way of refuting them, or do you just call them Nathan Oakley's catchphrases once you can't deal with them?
They are Nathan Oakley's catchphrases. That's a fact, an undeniable fact.
Oh, absolutely, him and QE for sure. But you haven't refuted them, that's the problem.
Well,
so whether or not they're a catchphrase isn't an issue.
Shut up, and I will do. The first thing I would ask you is, given that the second law of thermodynamics was formulated 200 years ago, and since then, there have been billions of people, literally billions, that have the second law of thermodynamics. Of those billions, several million will have gone on to higher education and studied it in greater detail. And of those millions, several tens of thousands will have gone on to careers where they continue to study and work with this law. So my question is, given that has been going on for 200 years, how come the only person to notice that this is a violation of the second law of thermodynamics is Nathan Oakley? And isn't it a more reasonable idea that he's just got it wrong?
What? People have been asserting that it's against the laws of thermodynamics since people kind of woke up on this. I think it's been going on since 2015. They've just
any evidence of that at all? And what people, apart from Nathan Oakley?
Sorry. Evidence that I don't know. I haven't been in this.
Well, how do you know that that's happened then?
Can I?
You've been in it long, but you're assuming that we're up to date.
You can finish it if you like, but you know that that's just some bullshit that you just made up. Because I've been here a long time, mate, and I know that that's not true. The second law of
Also, John, could you tell us how?
Let him respond, because we are trampling all over it. So,
can I just say one thing real quick? Look, if you don't come in here with like this stuff, like how far behind are you? If you don't come in here with this stuff, people will let you talk for days, and we'll be happy to have an honest conversation. Whenever you start doing shit like that, that's when people are going to blow up on you.
Well, I asked if you were up to date, and then I asserted what was termed Nathan Oakley's catchphrases, and so I was just wondering if you've refuted what you're calling catchphrases, or if you just don't like them and so you call them catchphrases.
Can you respond to what I've just said?
I think three people. What was your point? That's fine. What was your point?
My point is that millions and millions of people have learnt about this second law of thermodynamics, but the only person who's claiming that the vacuum of space violates it is Nathan Oakley, a person who has no scientific education, no background in science, has never done any experiments to establish this whatsoever. He hasn't written a word on it. He just sits on YouTube. He just sits on YouTube telling people like you that it's a violation of the second law of thermodynamics. Why do you believe him, given the millions of people who haven't apparently spotted this?
What? I'm not interested in appeal to consensus. Gas will fill the available space. If it's not doing that in an open system beside a sky vacuum, that's a second law of thermodynamics violation.
Hold on, everyone.
How does that violate the second law of thermodynamics?
How is that holding on? Jesus.
Sorry.
because when there's gas beside a vacuum, it fills the space.
Let jump under. Let jump under his
You know what the second
Oh,
law
he's
of
gone.
thermodynamics is?
He's gone. You've just let him out of the room. He was about to explain it, but everyone just like talked over him. That was a bit stupid, wasn't it? It's not a violation, basically. It's not a violation. You're
Yeah, Brahmi, you just did that to weasel your way in, man.
I never. I'm going to stay quiet.
Is he gone? Yo, John?
Yeah,
what is
Jim
the second law of
left.
thermodynamics?
Because he couldn't get his fucking word out because everyone kept talking over him. But someone else to take it, then I don't mind sitting here.
Yeah, I just want John to explain to us what the second law is, and then how gas filling
Why are we going to
the
do that?
area defies that.
I don't understand why we're even going to go. We really shouldn't go into these types of laws because no one here is ready to have that conversation.
Why not? Why is no one here ready for that conversation?
Because they're just spouting things. I mean, stick with simple things like if I put air in a bucket and swung it around in a circle really fast, then you can create an imbalance. I mean, you can create a vacuum at the top and air at the bottom. The same way that gravity works.
Yes, but that deals with pressure differences. Now, the flat earthers say that us not having a dome or containment for the atmosphere violates the second law of thermodynamics.
You can
the
do the
second
same
law
thing.
states that, hang on. The second law states that in an isolated system, entropy will only increase or stay constant. So I want to know, what does entropy have to do with gas filling the available space? Like, what is the causation or the correlation there?
Gas expansion into a vacuum, mixing of ideal gases or liquids, diffusion, effusion, colligative effect, and osmosis. Each fundamentally involves an increase in entropy due to an increased dispersion of energy with no change in total energy in the case of ideal substances, due to a greater number of microstates for the particular system involved.
What are you reading?
Yeah, we can read from Wikipedia.
He wants to get into microstates.
That's what I'm saying. This is why we shouldn't have these conversations because he's just going to read from Wikipedia. He doesn't know what he's talking about. It's ridiculous.
So I'm not a physicist. That's not my profession. Is it an issue that I read from a source?
No, it's fine.
You asked me how it involves entropy. That's my source.
Talking about the second law of thermodynamics. That's the whole point. Well, you can just do a very simple mind experiment of thinking about air in a bucket, swinging it around your head, and see that it creates the same sort of pressure differential as gravity does. Air doesn't just fill up its container. That's not true. I don't know where you heard that. Air fills up reacts to the forces that are being put upon it, just like everything else.
Well, I mean, I got my source here. I posted it in chat. Yeah. And to be clear, it is from Quantum Eraser. So, it might be a catchphrase or something, but it is from Quantum Eraser.
Yeah, right. So what you're posting is what QE said, right? It's not like from a learned physicist.
Well, it's from what is Oxy.edu? It looks like a university.
Can I ask him something new? And then you guys can get back to this, Chris. So let me ask. So you're going to say that a gas fills the volume. Okay. So think just hypothetical with that.
Let's Ronnie,
come on, man.
But just we know what you're like. But can we just let Stanley just attack this one-on-one with you?
Romy, hold on. Let me just say this, and then we can go back. It's about the second law.
We're not going to make protest with you. We're not going to.
Romy, come on, dude.
Romy,
let him talk. You ain't a mod. Let him talk.
Okay, so if you take a pressurized water container, right? Like you pressurize the water and then you close the top. Now you went underwater and you opened it. Would that water fill the volume or would it mix with the water that's already in there?
Sorry, pressurized water? I'm pretty sure you can't pressurize water. That's why we have hydraulics. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Water can be pressurized. It's just harder.
It's a non-compressible liquid.
Okay. Have you ever seen like a picture a tank of like oxygen or liquid oxygen at first? You get what I'm saying? So
I'm fine. We
just
pick a gas.
Okay, but use a liquid, right? Because I'm trying to make the connection that when you have a gas in a container in a atmosphere of gas, it's not filling the atmosphere. It's just mixing with it. So to say, oh, when I pop a balloon, that air fills the available volume. No, it just mixes with air that has already filled the available volume or is already there. Now, the available volume and the nature of the containment we could get into, but I just want to say like gas doesn't behave in it's not like it's filling the volume. It's more mixing with what's there. It would be a better accurate description.
Okay, well, I'll find you my source on this and I'll post it in chat. Can you just give me a sec here?
Yeah, take your time, man.
Right.
because we're not going to let you breathe on this.
Yeah, and I don't think we should go past the isolated system. The Earth is not an isolated system.
Yeah, but I mean that's what I'm trying to drill down to. I want him to explain in clear detail, not to parrot and read something that someone else wrote. From his own understanding. How
parrot a source?
Don't parrot a source. Tell us how you understand.
Well, no, are you a physicist or an engineer or something? Because I'm not, and I can't go be one. So are you one?
But then why do you believe that a violation is happening if you don't understand it?
Because the positions. Oh, I do understand, but I'm going to give you my source.
No one should be discussing this. I'm telling you, he doesn't understand the fundamentals. He doesn't even understand the fundamentals.
To be clear,
talk about these things.
He says he understands. Let's give him the.
He doesn't know.
I'm not going to call him a liar.
Wasting our time.
Let Sandy and John talk just one-on-one.
Why Sandy and John? Why can't we all talk?
Sandy's going to just explain with his simple explanation. It's going to be nice and concise, and we'll get to a point.
Sandy told him that same explanation 3 times, and
he didn't respond yet. Has he responded yet? No, because he keeps getting interrupted, and y'all are talking about other stuff.
Respond to your explanation. Go ahead, John.
He went to go look for, by the way.
Yeah, he went to go look for a source or something.
Yeah, just let it be a 1v1. I feel like we're all like rabbits on a fucking carrot. What?
Yeah, cool.
I just read his link from Frank Lambert. Frank Lambert is not even a physicist.
Also, this link doesn't say
in political history.
Yeah. Also, this link doesn't say how the violation happens. It just explains entropy. It doesn't say how entropy.
I guess I'm just a little frustrated because
violated by the atmosphere.
This is just a little frustrating because.
Just let it a 1v1. Let Soundly and
go ahead.
I just want to make this one point. It's frustrating because no one will ever make any progress talking about actual physical laws if they can't get past the most basic of mind experiments. Just start off with something simple. Don't talk about entropy or laws, and just give them a simple mind experiment that they should be able to understand. If they can't understand that or can't agree that makes sense, then they're not going to learn. Period. It's like, don't even waste your time on them.
Well, the moon was pretty. The moon was pretty basic, though, wasn't it?
Run him through the simple experiment and see how far that gets you.
Come on, then, John. Please take on Sandy with his simple experiment.
John's looking for a link.
He's unmuting his mic a few times.
Title locking and stuff isn't simple.
He's looking for something.
He's unmuting his mic a few times, but everyone keeps talking.
I think he's doing that on accident. That must be like push to talk or something.
Is it? John, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Could you have a one-on-one with Sandy, like nice and calm?
Okay. Does it involve? Okay, so like. You're saying that if we can't understand a thought experiment, then we shouldn't even start? Or sorry, what's going on with the thought experiment? I don't really like thought experiments because you can think a lot of things, and if you're not logically consistent, then you can get into a lot of holes. So,
okay, I'm just going to present this to you, okay, and we'll go from there. If you have enough centrifugal force and you have air in a container, right?
Is this a thought experiment?
Yes, that air will be forced to the bottom of the container. Okay, that will create a pressure differential. The air will not always fill up that container. That's not true. The idea that air will fill a container is a very special case, and it's an ideal case when no other forces are acting upon that air. And that's what it's meant. That's what's meant by that saying, which is taught in physics classes, right? But it's taught in a way that it's an ideal situation. There's no other forces acting upon the air, and then the air will expand to fill the container. That's the way it works.
Did you understand that, dude?
Okay. So what's in the container? Is there nothing in the container?
It's a one-on-one, please. It's a one-on-one.
No, it's a conversation.
Okay.
John, let John explain.
Okay, Brummy.
Nobody.
So the air goes to the
one-on-one. It's not
Brummy, calm down.
It's not your turn to talk.
Brummy, you know, Brummy, it was your stupid idea to make a one-on-one. That's not what's happening. This is a conversation, okay? You don't just dictate a one-on-one. So you're saying when the air goes to the bottom of the container, there's nothing at the top of the container. Soundly.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, put yourself in a vacuum.
Put so there's nothing.
Some substance inside of the container, and then spin it around in a circle to where the centrifugal force is fast enough to keep the whatever that substance is inside the container. Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
That's not what I asked. That's not what we put air in a container and you spun it. And you said the air will be pushed to the bottom and create a pressure differential. And there will be nothing at the top. There will be no air at the top of the bucket. It'll all be at the bottom.
That's completely possible given the correct situation, yes.
Okay, so you think that nothing can exist and occupy space inside the bucket above the air.
I think that space with no air in it is something that does exist, yes. Obviously, we have vacuum containers.
Okay, what is in that space?
Not air.
Okay, but is there something, like something in there, or is there nothing?
Again, this is completely irrelevant. If you want to play this game, go somewhere else.
There's no air there. If you're going to say
there's no air there, that's correct.
Okay, so then there's nothing there. Then there's nothing.
Right. You're standing in a vacuum with a
wait,
container spinning around you, an open container spinning around you with the substance in the bottom of it. It's going to stay in the bottom of it because centrifugal force is fast enough. Should be very simple for you to understand, isn't it?
That's not the question. The question is filling the volume. So I'm saying you have this volume that you're spinning. Now, is the air at the bottom and not filling it, or is the air filling it? And if it's not filling it, that space that it's not filling,
someone else tell me if I'm crazy. I've answered this question 3 times now.
Okay,
the air is
he's trying to trip you up on the idea that nothing can't exist.
Well, that's the definition of nothing, non-existence. So you're going to say that something by definition.
I'm talking about space-time.
Right, yeah, but
talk about space-time.
You're kind of taking us off on a tangent.
Okay, so it's space-time.
Taking us off on a tangent.
Look how triggered they get. Look how they all have to jump in and say
yeah, but keep it on.
It's like a little. It's like
nobody's saving me. You're getting tripped up because I'm better than you at this.
No, I'm just asking simple questions. So we have a volume. We spin it. Now you're saying half of the volume is air and the other half is nothing, which means not in existence. Is that what you're saying?
Does anybody else remember me saying that? Because I'm pretty sure I didn't say that, right?
You didn't say that.
If there's not air there,
what was about, man.
Okay, if there's not air there, then what's there?
No one cares, dude. That's not what we're talking about.
Well, no, but it's part of the problem. He's saying the air's not filling the volume. So if the air's not filling the volume and it's not nothing, then maybe there's something there that's just pushing the air or is taking up the space so the air can't be there and it would fill the volume.
Completely irrelevant. Let's say that.
No, but it is relevant. It's completely relevant.
Let's say that space-time pushes. That's fine.
Oh, well, so how does space-time push? How does it do that?
It doesn't matter. You're the one who suggests that. I'm trying to give it to you.
No, you're the one that's giving it to you.
I'm giving it to you. Sure, space-time can push. There you go. Congratulations.
How does space-time push?
Continue with the actual.
Is it a physical push?
He didn't assert space-time pushes. He's asking you a question, and he did not assert space-time.
Okay. No, he said it's space-time. He said that there's air and space-time in the volume. That's what he said. He said space-time is pushing the air. Did he not say that?
Instead of playing this
no, it's not playing a game. I'm trying to find the words.
Yeah, it is, because we can totally, I can totally rework it. I can totally rework
I thought it was the thought experiment. Well, it seems like if you can't do a thought experiment, you shouldn't even be in the conversation. Because I'm trying to do a thought experiment, and you can't do it.
This isn't part of the thought experiment. You're just being disruptive is all that's happening, Mr. Doctor.
No, I'm trying to understand your thought
Doctor. He's being disruptive. It's completely pointless.
No, what I'm trying to do is understand your thought experiment. You say there's air. We're having this thought in our head, and you're saying you have a container that you're spinning. Now, in my head, I'm picturing this container
John,
that has air in it.
John, do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay, hold on, Stanley. You're not looking so great here.
John,
so
do you understand what I'm saying?
Why do you have to deflect away? I'm having a conversation. Do you want to run away?
Do you understand what I'm
saying? John, save him.
I'm listening to him explain your idea back because that's a good basis for debate. It's a good basis for debate to make an assertion, let the other person parrot it back so they understand it, and then we can go from there and see who might be wrong.
I'm listening. 4 or 5 times now.
No, I want to hear what he's saying. I want to hear him understanding it, because if he doesn't understand it,
4 or 5 times.
Soundly, you're trying to get out of answering if there's nothing or something in this fucking volume.
I'm not trying to get out of answering it. I'm answering it. I've answered it 4 or 5 times now. I have. I've answered it 4 or 5 times. I'm not playing your game.
You said space-time. Well, what if I said God was in there? Would you want to see God like I want to see space-time?
Jesus, how did it get?
No, it's the same thing, bro. What if I told you God was in the volume? And what's the difference between the word space-time and God? You can't show me space-time. I can't show you God. You're just using words like a religious person. You want to get away from this. This is what
I don't care what it is.
John,
it's not air.
I wouldn't care. You should care that you're in a religion. You should.
No, I don't care because it's irrelevant to what I'm talking about. It's irrelevant to the mental.
Sidetrack. Just don't answer him, Solly. He's sidetracking.
I know, that's exactly what he's sidetracking.
He was muted. Thank God.
Thank God. This is why I didn't want him to interject, and I got muted for trying to just want a normal civil debate between John and Sandy, because we've got two people we can all listen to. We don't need East because we know what he's like. He doesn't have debates. He just likes to just completely confuse the situation and never get to a point. That's why I got him.
Question though.
I don't understand. The point is this: that air is affected by the forces that are acting on it. It doesn't just automatically fill up any volume that it's in. That's just not how it works. I mean, that should be pretty simple for anybody to understand that air is acted upon the forces or the forces.
Can you answer his question? Because I wanted to know the answer. That's why I was listening.
I answered the question 4 or 5 times.
I know the answer.
Could you repeat the answer then? Because
I know the answer.
David, don't do it, man.
The whole point is that it's not the air. The air is not filling up the container. That's the whole point of the thought experiment. It doesn't matter what else is there because that's irrelevant.
Well, but no. So I'm picturing it, and so there's So explain. Okay, go through your thought experiment again, because I've honestly lost a bit of track of it. So go ahead, explain it again.
Okay, let's think about it even like this. You can think about it as water as being the fluid instead of air.
No, dude, I want a gas, not water.
Okay, put gas in the container and spin it fast enough that the centrifugal force forces the air to the bottom of the container.
Okay, so it's spinning. So first I'll picture it with sand, because I can picture that, right? The sand goes to the bottom, like in a, what's it called? Centrifuge. Yeah? Am I getting the picture correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm spinning it around, and you're asserting that the same thing happens with air as with sand.
Air reacts to the forces that are acting upon it, yeah.
So the air all, like little bits of sand, all the air particles are going to one side. And then I'm going to echo, what was it? The doctor's question. What is in the rest of it? Because I'm pretty sure in the situation you're talking about, it just fills the volume, because that's how gas works.
The idea is that there isn't anything else other than the bucket in the air. That's the reason this is a thought experiment. There isn't anything else in the room.
But but you're asserting that it's going to one side and that there is nothing in the other side? Do you have a demonstration of this, or is this purely a thought experiment?
This is purely a thought experiment right now. Yeah. Should be something. You can wrap your head around, though.
Yeah, I got you. So I'm playing it through in my head, because I got the picture of the centrifuge or whatever. I got a picture of that. I've seen those work. Yeah, but I'm picturing it, and I'm picturing it spinning really fast, and I'm thinking, okay, well, what would happen if a gas is in there? And it's like, it would fill the volume, because that's the definition of a gas.
That's not the definition of a gas.
Okay, well, I'll find the definition of a gas.
See, this is why you're constantly reaching for addiction. You're not thinking correctly already.
You don't get. He doesn't.
You can say that, but what happened? Like, what's the problem with that source material? Do you not have notes?
You have a gradient in that centrifuge. You have a gradient. It starts spinning. All the molecules are going toward the outside.
Oh, I thought it went mostly down.
Listen to my explanation. You have a centrifuge. So now it's going to the outside, because you're creating a force, which is the change of direction of these air molecules. That's why you have a force. That's why it's going to the outside. Now, in the atmosphere, air has weight. That's another force. It's mostly down. Yes. What's the problem? Are you still confused about the entropy, meaning that gas expands into the available space, which is incorrect? Is that what you're
I'm finding my definition, which I was demonized for looking up. So just give me a minute.
Well, no, it just shows you can't really tell you.
I'm not looking it up. It just gets tiring constantly arguing about definitions when everybody knows what a gas.
Honestly, I don't give a fuck if it's tiring. I want the proper definition, and I don't have it, so I'm going to look it up.
He appears to be just another 24/7 troll to me.
No, he was over on Nathan's channel too, just saying senseless things.
No, it's fine. Let him go on with the parroted narratives, not the tough questions, not the easy observations that flat earthers don't even want to touch. Let's just move on to the skewed definitions of entropy.
Did you hear?
So far, all I've heard is a ridiculous thought experiment, sheeple.
I gave you the moon and a direct observation with photo evidence from 2 locations on a simultaneous
I'm not interested
day.
in the false dichotomy between flat and globe Earth that you're asserting.
Can you listen
What
to this? Listen to this real quick. Soundly, you there? Listen to this real quick. Ready? Here it goes.
Yeah, air pressure is a force. It's called entropy. When things go from high pressure to low pressure, it's just called entropy. Right?
So when things go from high pressure to low pressure, it's called entropy. That's right out of QE's mouth. This is how silly these guys are. That's their freaking fearless priest. Their fearless leader. High pressure to low pressure is entropy.
No, why does he say that? Why does he say that?
He says
does
that
he elaborate?
Well, yeah, he says that it's a law. Entropy is a law. Doesn't know it's a differential property of the second law. It's actually a measurement, a value. It's a differential property. And he says it because things tend to expand. High pressure tends to disperse. Things go from low microstates to higher microstates naturally. That's part of the second law. It's part of entropy, but not gas moving from high pressure to low pressure. That is not entropy. Because I can have entropy, I can have gas pressure going from high pressure, move a piston, do work, and entropy not change. It's called a reversible process. So I just had high pressure to low pressure, entropy didn't change. So entropy is not the cause because it didn't change, right? They think entropy is a force.
Y'all want the definition of a gas?
Yeah,
I should have just Googled it at first, otherwise, sorry it took so long. But on Google, a substance or matter in a state in which it will expand freely to fill the whole of a container, having no fixed shape, unlike a solid, and no fixed volume, unlike a liquid.
Can a gas expand freely if it has weight?
What?
Can a gas expand freely if it has weight?
Can you define weight for me?
Weight is a force.
Oh, so the gas has a force?
Yes. It's weight. Its weight is a force.
If the gas has the force, that doesn't make sense.
You can weigh gas. You can put gas in a container and weigh it. You can put gas in a container and weigh it.
Now you're just double speaking. Anyway, I had this definition.
Hold on. Gas
soundly that the gas fills a container. And I was asserted that was incorrect.
No,
and then I was criticized for finding a source. So I'm just curious if there's any rebuttal to that.
If no other forces on it, you are correct. But there are forces called its weight. Gas has weight. Do you disagree?
What you're saying there is that gas has a force. So I ask you again, could you define weight for
a force?
Gas has a force. That's all you're asserting.
Gas has weight.
Come on, man. Give him a proper.
You put gas.
I have a proper definition.
Yes, it is. You put gas on a scale, it'll have weight. It'll have a force. Gas has mass. Mass has force. Called weight.
But you're being lazy, Zanik. Just give him a proper definition.
Okay, mass times gravity. It's mass times acceleration is weight.
And which acceleration is it experiencing?
9.8 meters per second.
Which happens all the time everywhere, like as in a law?
As in a law. It's called Newton's second law.
I just want to add one thing. If I stand on some scales, my weight applies force to them scales, which can be measured. So my weight applies a force onto that. So when you have weight in gas, that also has a force. That's what he means by that. I just wanted to say.
Correct. Thank you for that, too.
Yeah, no, I get that you're begging gravity, Newtonian gravity, which has been overridden.
I'm not begging anything. You put anything on a scale that has a force. That force
is that a push or pull force?
Pardon me?
Push or pull force. Well, you got to define force as push or pull.
No, you don't. Force is a force, of course.
No, force is a description.
You know what push or pull. Doesn't matter. A force doesn't know. All it knows is direction.
Keep it simple.
Well, if you say air has a...
A force has only two aspects: a magnitude and a vector and a direction. Doesn't matter
saying the
whether
weight is like
That's for
down.
kindergartners.
Wait,
Like,
hey, look, don't muddy the water. When you stand on them, some scales, you apply a force to them scales, right? So my weight is the force that's been applied to them scales. Therefore, weight is a force. It has a force. When you have a balloon full of air and you weigh that on scales, there is a force being applied from the air. So the air has properties of weight. Weight is the force. Now just keep it. Just accept that fact and let's move on.
yeah, just accept your narrative and move on.
I told you they're just going to argue definitions.
Sounds religious to me.
This is why you can't.
Sounds like you're ignorant to me.
Don't have these arguments with them. Don't argue about definitions. They're just playing the game.
Well, because if you don't have clear definitions, then your words can mean anything. That's why you don't want to clearly define anything.
You have clear definitions.
No, but hold on. Okay, let me explain why you don't. I'll explain why you don't. Because you're going to say force. Now, that's not a clear definition. Now, when you say a pushing, hold on. When you say a pushing force, that's much clearer. When you say a pulling force, that's much clearer. When you just say force, that's not clear.
Okay.
I've gone over this 100 times with you.
Play the game. I'll play an attractive force. How's that?
Okay, but that's not one of the forces. You have a push, pull. Hold on. You have,
it's just a game,
push,
guys.
pull, contact, and at a distance. So you have push, pull, contact, and at a distance. Those are your force, because force is
particle
not
attracting. Not attracting.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
The particles have
Well, it
no
does.
idea
It does
whether being
matter.
pushed or pulled.
Not
That's for
attracting.
kindergartners. Right to hand. It's for kindergartners, please.
No,
above
if you can't define your words clearly,
right to hand. You're better than that. Come on, let's move on.
I'm saying if you can't define your words clearly,
Defining the
then
word. A force causes an acceleration in mass.
no, but that's not a clear definition.
Okay.
How does the object move?
Okay, East. When you get some scales and you put them on the wall, if I push my arm into the scale, hold on. If I push my arm into the scale, I will apply a force to the scale, and it will measure the force that I'm putting into it. If I put the scales on the floor and I stand on the scales on the floor, I'll apply a force into the scale on the floor. So all I'm saying is that measures a force. Doesn't really matter.
Let me respond. So you're not measuring a force because a force is a constant.
When you stand on the scale, right?
It describes the force. It's not a force in itself. A force is real. A force causes an acceleration in an object. It accelerates mass. Proportional to the force, proportional to the mass.
So when you
1 Newton will create 1 meter per second squared acceleration in 1 kilogram. That's what a force does.
But gravity's not a force.
Does it matter? It causes an attractive force, by the way.
Do you accept that air could be weighed? Do you accept that, John? That's all I want to know. Do you accept that gas can have weight, which basically you can put on the scale and it can measure how much force is being applied to it? Do you acknowledge that fact? Yeah.
I haven't had a good definition of weight yet, so we can't just assume that in the question.
It's mass times gravity is its weight.
Yeah, Newtonian or Einsteinian?
Newtonian.
Newtonian gravity's been debunked. Okay.
It has not been debunked.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, George Mooser. I got more catchphrases for you, girl.
You keep on parroting Quantum Racer, and you're going to start saying
because he's fucking right.
Hold on. You keep on quoting Quantum Racer, and you're going to start saying that gas pressure is entropy. Gas pressure going from high to low is entropy. That's what you're going to end up with. Don't
I didn't say that. That's a red herring.
You're better than that. No,
I haven't an answer on whether you think that you can weigh air. Can you weigh air? Do you think gas has a weight? That's all I'm asking you. It's not a very difficult one. Don't change the subject. Can you weigh the air in a balloon? Can you do it? Yes or no?
I already told you. You're begging the question of weight.
Can you do it? Yes or no? Can you weigh air?
Can you put a scale under a balloon of air and weigh it? Well, with a force. Will force be generated enough to make a spring scale deviate? Is that detailed enough for it? God.
If I put a balloon full of air on a scale, will the scale register some change? Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. That's all. That's you admitting that there is weight in the air. That's fine.
No, I'm just telling you what will happen when you put a balloon full of air on a scale.
I'm happy with that. As long as you can address that air has weight to it, that's fine.
If I have a container,
you're putting words in my mouth.
All right.
So have fun with that.
Let's get further. I take the container. I take a bottle. I fill it with air. I weigh it. You're saying it's going to have weight. I evacuate that bottle and make it a vacuum. Will it have less weight or more weight?
Weight is displacement. It's the displacement of the object in the medium. So you need a medium in the object. Why do you get triggered?
No, it's not.
You were sitting silently. The moment you start speaking to explain something, you jump in.
The question wasn't to you. That's why.
I know, but you guys are thinking, so I'm going to explain something about weight. Weight is a measure of the Let me finish. Oh, okay, now Curves has to jump in because he's
never started. You shouldn't have started. It was a question for the new retard. Let him answer.
What's the question for me?
You,
Could we repeat? You guys are talking over each other.
We weren't at the time that Sonic asked you the fucking question.
All right, well, repeat it and I'll go for it. I'm not going to do it 11 times like he does on Nathan's stream.
Okay, we have a bottle. We have it filled with air, and we weigh it. I think you agreed that it can get a weight. If I evacuate it, pure vacuum, will it weigh less or more?
I didn't agree with any of that. I said if you put a balloon or a whatever the hell container...
A bottle.
You put a bottle filled with air on a scale. The scale's going to register something. If you take the air out of the bottle, I assume it's also going to register something, and it's probably going to register it lower. Yep.
So what caused it to weigh less?
Why are you asking me to prove your assertions?
No. I ask you because
what
you
caused
said
it to weigh less. You're begging the question of gravity.
No, I'm not begging a question. The scale measures a force. You said it's going to weigh less, meaning the force will be less. So why is it? I didn't
say that. You're putting words in my mouth. I said it's going to register something and it's going to register a lower number.
Why is it going to register a lower number?
Stop.
I don't know.
Just asking you, man.
You got a bottle. You weigh it. You take the air out. Now it weighs less. Obviously, the air is what caused it to weigh more.
Yeah, you keep using that word weight, which begs the question of gravity. And you said it's a force, but it's not a force.
Why would it weigh less? Seriously. Why would it weigh less? Just answer the question. Why would it weigh less?
I have no idea.
You don't have no idea, so why do you know how entry works or how anything works if you have no idea why air in a bottle weighs less?
You know how to talk to this idiot. Go ahead and do it. Play his little game here, and let's see what he's got to say. Why would it register less?
I don't know. Why do I need to know that?
Why do you think it weighs less? Because you said it weighs less. You thought it would weigh less.
Like, does that same thing happen underwater? Or
hey, answer your question. Yeah, because you're the denier. That's why you
does. Same thing happens
I'm a denier.
You're the fucking denier.
Ooh.
The same thing happens underwater. Yes. Yes.
You don't know why it weighs less. So you know how do you know how entry works? Anything works. If you can't even give me an answer of why it weighs less in a bottle, then you can't really tell me about fucking the violation of thermodynamics. That's a more complicated issue. You can't even give me a straight answer as to why it weighs less when there's no air in there.
You keep using the word weigh, though. I don't like. I'm not engaging in that. If it's not clear already, I'm not going to engage in your begging the question of gravity. That's stupid.
Pressure on a scale, making the spring collapse. Well, how about this? Instead of saying weight, will the spring collapse when it's on a spring? Will the spring have any kind of movement downward?
Yeah, but you're asserting that that's because of gravity, and I'm saying gravity is bullshit.
Anything. I'm just saying it does this particular phenomena, which is the spring moves. It takes force to make the spring move downward. And we have a bottle with air in it, and it moves the spring a certain amount. We take the air out, and the spring gets compressed slightly less.
Yeah, so why can't that be explained with density differentials?
Go ahead. Explain it to him.
I don't understand that whole argument. That's Arwen's business. But we're arguing about something. So no. Here's what's going on. You're trying to catch. No. You're trying to catch me on.
No, I'm not catching
you. Do you know this? Do you not know this? And then we're going to assert that because
you're a dumbass.
You're not just be honest with yourself. Why do you think that is? It's very simple. I'm pretty sure a 9-year-old could answer this question. It's not difficult to see.
Can you explain what you mean by density, please, Mr. Travolta?
All I'm saying, I don't understand that argument as well as I understand the gravity argument. So that's not even a good place for me to go.
Here? What do you understand? That might be easier to start. What do you feel familiar with?
I understand that you can't have gas pressure without a container.
Why is that?
Oh, fuck's sake.
Because of entropy? Is that what you're going to say? Because of entropy, they give me quantum ratio?
Same old bullshit.
Because entropy makes gas expand? Oh, my God. See, this is what you're doing. You're parroting a guy that knows nothing about, he's a self-proclaimed expert in thermodynamics, and he says entropy is gas going from high pressure to low pressure. This is your priest. This is how you parrot. Yeah, he does. I just played the recording. Want to play it again? He said that. High pressure moving to low pressure is just called entropy.
That's the definition of entropy, or that's something that happens because of
entropy?
He
said you can call that entropy.
Because of the second law of thermodynamics.
Exactly. He's trying to boil things down so that retards can understand it, and the retards try and take it, pull it apart, and not understand the principle.
Right. And when you think you know something more than you do, usually it's a part of the Dunning-Kruger definition. If you want to hear about definitions.
I mean, you're still into war.
He doesn't know about thermodynamics. He has no clue about why gas pressure. So gas pressure doesn't move from high to low if there's a force acting on it, because it's all you need is containment. It can be a container, or guess what? It can be its own weight. Oh no, there's that scary word again. Weight. A force.
Yeah, because you're assuming gravity, which is not a force.
Not assuming anything. I'm just saying it has weight.
You can't. It doesn't matter if you say whether you're assuming it or not.
It doesn't matter. If it has
weight and there's a force acting on it.
Hey, Voltless.
Keep asserting gravity, which is bunk.
Voltless. If it has weight, that's all you need.
You don't understand gravity. You admitted that. You don't understand gravity, and you don't understand density. You understand one. You don't understand one more than the other. Bottom line is you don't understand enough to say it's wrong.
And you don't understand that air has weight, and you can't even admit that because it's just like a very difficult thing for you to get your head around. That the force applied on the scale is being changed when we take the air out or in or out of a bottle or a balloon. You can't seem to even get over that small first step. So how you expected to run when you can't walk?
Well, so what I know is that gravity is not a force.
How do you know that?
I know that from sources. So I haven't done experiments to prove that.
George Muser said gravity's not a force. Hang on. Be considered one.
You can think of it as a force. Yeah, that's not useful to me. We work on the really is level.
Level meaning curved.
What?
No, calm down. Slow down. Let's go back. You know that gravity isn't real, but you don't know what's making the difference between air. Like, this is where I'm really struggling to understand. How can you not know what's changing the number on the scales, but then you can know that there is no such thing as gravity? Like, this is a very more complicated issue. How do you have the ability to know that, but not know the base? You go into
Yeah, I have to resort to other sources when I don't understand something fully. Because, like I say, I'm not a physicist or an engineer, not a physical engineer.
You don't really know what you're talking about. That's the truth of the matter. The bottom line is,
but you've admitted you don't understand the other source.
I don't understand. Well, let's see. Give me a second. I'll find my sources. Give me a second.
You don't understand gravity, and you don't understand density. You said.
And you said you understand that gas pressure needs a container or something like that.
And so you also said you don't know that air has weight as well. That's something else you're not being.
You don't know very much of anything, it sounds like. You're telling us. I'm not making this up or trying to ad hominem you. You just told us you don't really know much of anything. But you do know one thing. You said gas pressure will expand. And you left it at that. What does that even mean?
So it's hard for me to take you as a serious person who knows anything about anything.
Yeah, this is pretty embarrassing for you if you're coming here to tell us something when you don't even know what you're talking about. You can't have a conversation with you because you don't even know what a force is. You don't even know what a container is. You don't even know what a gas is. You don't know anything.
It's mad, crazy,
utter mad. I mean, it's insane. I mean, what, are you just like a masochist and want to see yourself just get blasted by people that know 5th grade and lower than you do? Maybe your backup, maybe your savior, right to hand, can jump in and ask us to define the force in more detail, push or pull. I mean, this is just
what are you asserting? Are you just talking? Is this just a rant, or did you have a question for him?
Yeah, he does that. John, are you a real flat earther?
What does that mean?
Do you really believe it's flat?
I really believe it's flat. Yep.
What do you expect to get out of by being here?
Why?
What is your purpose?
I told you that earlier. It looks flat.
I wasn't here.
Oh, sorry. Well, I apologize then. Fair enough.
No, I apologize. I wasn't here.
Okay.
So what's your purpose here?
Which question do you want me to answer? It's really tough. There's like 3 people talking about it.
I'm just asking you why you're flat. Why you think it's flat?
Right. So what I said when I got into the conversation, why I believe someone said, "Why do you believe this nonsense?" Because locally it looks flat. When I look out, it looks flat, and then people say, "Well, it's a ball." And then I found the Black Swan argument, and that seems pretty convincing to me. So I'm on the flat side now. That's where I'm at.
Where's that? I mean, I've heard.
Locally looking flat. What do you base that on?
Oh, God.
My eyes.
Okay. That's
I agree with you. It does look flat, and it's not the end of the world to assume
What
that
do you
it's flat.
base sunrise and sunset on?
Sorry?
Sunrise and sunset. What
Yeah.
that tells you with your eyes the Earth is flat. You don't even have to travel for this. Come on. What does sunrise and sunset tell you about the flatness of the Earth? Please explain.
Well, I was told growing up that it was because it was a ball, and that made sense to me for a long time. But I started realizing that people lie to us about a lot, and so I started looking at everything. One of the things I looked at is, what is it a ball? Because that's a positive assertion, and the black swan disproves that. So now I'm at it's flat, and I don't know, it might be some other weird shape, but I'm gonna sit with it's flat for right now.
You need me to remind you of the
Black
question.
Swan proves the globe.
You need me to remind of the question, sir.
You completely didn't answer the question, mate.
Yep.
Do you need it reiterated?
Sunset tells your eyes the Earth is flat.
Right. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't address the question. The answer to that is I don't know what that phenomenon means. I understand that it worked on a sphere before, and now I've seen that the sphere is disproven. So now I don't understand. It might be going away into the distance. I have no idea, though. I haven't looked into it that much.
You're going to maintain your stance that the Earth appears flat when you have this observation that directly contradicts that appearance.
It doesn't contradict that appearance. That's a phenomenon that's happening, and I don't have an explanation for it. But as far as what I can actually see in terms of land or water mass, it's flat.
Basically, you're ignoring all evidence. You're ignoring everything else that contradicts you.
And act like you're being honest all you want to. But I know what you're doing, and so does everybody else.
Yeah. And you never addressed my point about the black swan. You just glanced over it and jumped to the second law. That black swan was a one-time occurrence out of a certain piece of the day, and the very next day, the same cameraman went back there, and what did he see?
Sorry. You're just to be clear what's going on here. You're criticizing me after you gave like 3 points. Now we didn't get back to your points, so I apologize for that. But obviously the conversations took a different turn. But don't treat it like I intentionally glazed over.
Well, you kind of did. You said, "Well, I don't care about that," and then you cherry-picked your argument.
No, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's
All
talk
right,
about the
let's
black
do it.
swan now.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Present it.
Why do we have to go to
we
this
literally
black swan
present it, or
bullshit?
just talk through it?
Why can't we stay with the sun?
Show
the sun and the
black
moon.
swan argument.
He says sunset and sunrise are
He
illusions.
wants to ignore everything that contradicts the black swan. So I think the black swan's the only thing that he's really got as an anchor. So we should just let them do it.
He wants to call sunrise and sunset an illusion, yet he sees it as flat. Why isn't that an illusion
I
as
didn't
well?
call it an illusion. It's something that I don't understand.
You don't understand.
Yeah, so then why is
you
it
don't
when you
understand
look,
or no?
when you, no, I understand it. So when you look out and it looks flat, you understand it's flat.
So, sorry, was that a question?
No, it was stating the bloody obvious.
Well, you look at the Earth; it looks flat, and you accept that. But then when you look at the sun setting, you don't accept that because you don't understand it. So how can you use one?
Well, no. I've seen it. It sometimes looks like it goes behind a thing, and sometimes it looks like it goes off into the distance. So past that, I don't really know what's going on.
Well, let's just let you two finish off your argument about this black swan. It'd be interesting to hear how that plans out.
There you go. You just said it. You don't really know what's going on.
No, I don't know what's going on with the sun and the moon. Okay, are we at black swan?
I don't know.
Yeah, let's do the black swan. Can you present it?
Yeah. If the Earth is a sphere with a radius 3959 miles, then every horizon distance measurement must be no more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet.
Dude.
Okay.
Right. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go on. I'll hold on. Like I always fucking...
Right. So, if the horizon is further than that, then what? It's automatically flat?
If the horizon is further than that, that means the radius isn't 39. It's not a globe with a radius 3959 like they say it is.
So that makes it flat, not just a bigger sphere.
Well, if it's a bigger sphere, then you'd have problems where the Earth is so big that it goes out to where the moon purportedly is, according to your science. So
right, so we go back to the same location and take the same observation from the same height and don't see it.
That's a white swan then. I have no issue with that.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's a problem for you. If the Earth was flat, why should there be any horizon obstructing any object at all?
You're assuming that it's obstructing an object as opposed to just a visual phenomenon that has to do with angular resolution. So that's a non-issue.
Angular resolution.
Yeah,
So
you know how perspective works? Like everything goes
I do what you're saying.
Okay, cool.
I do what you're saying. But why should huge objects disappear? Angular resolution aside. Angular resolution, diffraction, all those things still in the play, but there's cases like Mount Rainier, 3,000 meters missing of the mountain. You call this angular resolution?
I have no idea what's going on there. All I know is that the black swan
I
just
don't know.
the 30
Yeah,
minutes.
again,
Right.
you don't know anything about what's going on there.
Oh, hang on a sec.
Hold
on a sec, Sheeps. Hold on, Sheeps.
Do we want to go
My
through the
turn.
black swan, or do we want to talk about Mount Rainier?
Black Swan.
Okay.
Why don't you apply the distortion that's happening to one of the cranes to the horizon? Why does it not get applied fully to the photograph?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
The distortion you see on one of the cranes, right?
Yeah.
You see that the crane's all bent.
Yeah.
Why isn't that distortion applied to the whole photograph,
No,
including the horizon? Yeah, exactly.
What? Well,
It's
no.
a bit,
What are you proving there? I know you say exactly. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I didn't take the picture, but that's
Right.
not the issue. The issue is that you see the
It is
horizon
the issue,
behind
mate.
the 9.41 mile platform. That's the issue.
What he's
Because-
saying is
because
that
there's a
30 feet
distortion.
there's distortion. 30 feet plus there's distortion.
You say it for.
So, but what does that have to do with us seeing the horizon further out than 9.41 miles?
Right.
You're
Okay,
just
if you'd ever listen to QE and actually gone through this, you'd realize that what he says is that distortion, or he would have gone through refraction. Refraction is worse closest to due to the density in the air. The changes are greater. So therefore, if there's distortion 30 feet in the air, twisting of clearly straight piece of metal, bending it up over 45 degrees, therefore the distortion beneath that has to be greater. And the distortion that we see looms the water.
I just want to know
layers.
why they skip over the fact that they don't apply it to the horizon, regardless of how much it should or shouldn't refract more closer to the horizon. I'm just curious as to why.
And why
Sorry,
you don't
interject
apply it to mountains as well? That's another one. Why you don't apply it to mountains is beyond me. You're just doing it in a specific.
we're talking about the black swan here.
Yeah, but you this would have to be consistent with everything, right? You wouldn't just use it on an isolated situation, which is what.
Sorry.
If you were honest about what you're saying, you shouldn't just use it in an isolated situation. This thing should be consistent with everything you see around the world, and you're using it just for this one situation where it might fit your magical world. But when we apply
That's
the
why it's
same
called the
logic,
black swan, mate. That's what they call it, black swan.
Yeah,
Why is
that's where the definition comes from.
Because it's the one thing that supposedly refutes everything else.
but it doesn't refute Mount.
I know. I fucking know.
Sorry.
That's why I'm asking you. Anyway, carry on.
Okay. Well, I mean, so I presented the logical proposition, and then you've all
not
seen
logical,
this.
mate. It's
It's
not
a
logical.
modus tollens, so I'd say it's logical.
It's
and
not
so
logical.
there's the.
You didn't understand what I was asking you, so how can you say?
Well,
you
sorry.
understand
I thought
the photograph?
I thought we were explaining. I thought I was supposed to present the black swan, and then we were going to question me about it. Am I missing a question that I didn't?
Carry on.
God.
Let
Yeah,
him
the
hang
question
himself
is-
was. It'll be fun.
What the question is? Why do you not include the distortion that's happening to the crane to the horizon? You can clearly see it.
No, like I've seen the horizon refracted before. Absolutely, that's not an issue. The issue is that we only see one horizon, and that horizon is past 9.41 miles. That's the issue.
You're wrong.
All right, you're not getting it. I'm not going to sit here and
And
say
I'm
the
not
same
getting
thing over and over.
You don't want to clarify why I'm not getting it? That we don't see two horizons? That there is a
I
geometric
did
horizon
clarify.
only in your model? Only
I
in your
did
model?
clarify. No, I clarified why you're not. Why you're seeing what you're seeing.
Well, Could you explain that a little further, though? Because I've seen a horizon.
So there's distortion on the crane.
Yeah.
There's distortion on the further platform on the crane on the left side.
Yeah.
That's not that crane does not look straight as it actually is.
Definitely.
So why is that distortion not applied to the water? It's clearly happening in the photograph.
Okay, but what does that have to do with the argument? I'm not sure where that plays into the argument that.
Maybe if you just answer the question,
So you can't answer it.
Question
you can't answer it. So you have to say you don't
Are you
understand.
saying that the photo's fake or what?
John, just answer the question, and you'll find out what it's to do with it.
Why is it not applied to? In what way? In what way would I want to apply it to the?
That's exactly for you to work out. I mean, you're claiming that the horizon's that far away, but there's clearly distortion in the photograph that you're not.
So you're saying that it's actually.
You're saying that the horizon is actually that far away.
Okay,
But
you're saying
you've not accounted for any distortion in the photograph.
Can I see if I understand what you're saying? You're saying that I'm asserting that it looks more than 9.41 miles away, but it actually is more like 2.73. Is that what you're saying?
No, you're saying why is the horizon behind the crane?
Yes.
Behind the further platform, right?
Yes.
So you're saying the horizon is that far away?
Right, and you're saying it's not.
No, I'm asking you why you're saying it's that far away when you haven't included the distortion to explain why it's that.
Because it's
why
behind
it
an
might not
object.
be that far away.
Because it's behind an object.
So it's an optical thing. It's like it looks flat, right? It's with your eyes.
I'm not sure what you're getting at. There's a horizon behind an object that we know is 9.41 miles away. The horizon should appear about 2 3/4 miles away, but it appears 9.41 miles away.
Right. Why does it appear that far away?
Because it's an apparent phenomenon.
So what are you saying?
I'm saying that there is no geometric horizon, which is required for a globe model.
How do you get a geometric horizon?
I don't know. You guys made it up.
It's not made up.
He asserted the geometric, not us.
Well, the globe religion asserts the geometric, and that's
No, we don't.
That's where you don't assert a geometric horizon. You have to have a
Only
geometric
without
horizon to have
atmosphere.
geometry.
Only without atmosphere.
Do you know what a geometric horizon excludes?
Reality? I don't. What?
Fuck's sake! You say you don't know. You don't know what you're arguing about.
Well, I think I do. I see a picture and I see a single horizon.
It's a distance to where the ball would start curving at. That's where the geometric horizon starts at.
Not true. Not true.
Can we mute him, please?
That would be a mathematical.
A geometric horizon. Am I
That would be a
right?
mathematical certainty.
Am I right?
There is nowhere on a sphere where it begins to curve.
So on
You understand that? You can get a sphere
That's
and
right.
say it
That's right.
begins to curve here. A sphere curves everywhere, including from your feet to that horizon.
Everywhere.
However far away that horizon is, regardless of what refraction is doing to the horizon and how it's affecting what you see, it's all curved. All day.
Well, let's get back to the distortion now. Why is the distortion affecting the result of this picture? So you're saying it's a geometric horizon when it's like excluding from distortion. Is that the true?
No, I'm saying that in your model there's this geometric horizon where behind it things start getting hidden.
But you don't know what that is.
What?
Well, you said you don't. I asked you what the geometric horizon is. You said I don't
understand that. Sorry?
Things are only guaranteed to be hidden behind the geometric horizon if there's no atmosphere.
Well, okay. So, but you're saying that there is one, and the problem is that there isn't one. It's not there. We only see one horizon.
How do you prove it's not there?
I agree with you. We only see one horizon, the visible horizon, which is due to refraction. Always. The geometric horizon is still there, but that's just a fact of geometry. That's not what we see.
And what does he mean? It's not there.
Well, a horizon is the apparent meeting of sky and water or land.
Do you think that the calculated distance to our geometric horizon, that region of the Earth's surface does not exist?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yeah, the calculated distance to the geometric horizon, the line where that would be, that point, that area on the Earth. Are you saying that doesn't exist? That when refraction causes the distance to the horizon to be greater, are you saying that now this piece of land or water is no longer exists when you say it's not there? What do you mean it's not there?
So a horizon is the apparent meeting of earth and sky, or water and sky, and I see one of those. Now there's supposed to be another horizon that, like in your model, it's that there's this physical place, and then you assert that another physical place, or no, sorry, an apparent phenomenon gets refracted up behind this physical place, but the physical place is supposed to be the horizon. That's supposed to be where the Earth meets the sky. That was the explanation while I was growing up. Oh, ships disappear behind the horizon, blah, blah, blah.
Well, so your problem is
there's a place that hides it. It's not there.
That's not the definition of horizon.
There's no two bones about it. The apparent horizon is the visual horizon. It's what you see as the horizon.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm good with that.
Okay.
That just means it's an apparent phenomenon. Like,
no.
Yeah, this part where I say welcome to flat Earth.
Do you know what apparent means? Do you know what apparent means here?
Sure do.
What does it mean?
It means it's a visual phenomenon. It's not a physical place. If I walk towards it, it would be like walking towards the rain.
It's a physical phenomenon. Anything you see is some kind of physical phenomenon.
Apparent. How it appears. What you see. The apparent horizon. That is the line where the Earth appears to meet the sky. That's your apparent horizon. Fuck the distance to it. Doesn't matter. Not right now.
Sorry, the distance to the apparent. I'm sorry, I'm confused. What are you trying to say?
I'm talking about this thing with the geometric horizon and your problems with it, and the crazy ass way you're trying to use this as if it's some kind of evidence against the globe, and then you're acting like this part of the Earth just disappears, no longer exists now because of refraction. What?
No. No, that's super not what I'm saying. Do you want me to repeat the argument, or?
Yeah. Oh, then quit sounding like it.
Can you clarify what you're saying, mate? Because you're not making sense.
So you're talking to him or me?
Talking to you, mate. To you, John.
Okay. What about what I'm saying isn't making sense?
Can you clarify what you're saying?
Which part, or do you want me to repeat the argument?
This is hard work.
Repeating wouldn't clarify, would it?
Let's say I'm a stupid person. I have no idea about horizons or apparent horizons, and I want you to explain it to me so that I can be convinced that the Earth's flat. Just try that.
Okay. So when I'm looking out on the water, I see a horizon, right? Like in this picture.
Yeah.
Now, if we're going to assert, like science with a capital S does, that the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959, then every horizon distance measurement must be no more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you say that?
So things are going to be hidden behind that.
But why would you claim that that's the distance?
Well, that's not my claim. That's the GLOBER's claim. That's like if you go to NASA or whoever.
Let him finish explaining to me so he doesn't get confused again because he's losing his trail of thought.
Yeah, fine. Go ahead. Just pointing out your flawed premise.
It's just a repeat.
I mean, your logic from here can be perfect, but if you start from a bad premise, then you're not going anywhere.
So which premise is bad?
That is the exact distance to the horizon always.
Well, so what you're talking about is on my side of the argument, that the horizon is not a sphere edge, it's an apparent phenomenon.
There is no edge.
There is an assertion, though, that it's a sphere edge that hides things.
There's no edge on a sphere.
Sorry, yeah, you're right. The hiding point. If I'm standing one place, I mean, we've all seen the I don't know. Is it? Why are we going in circles here? We've all seen the diagram where it's one person standing on this ball, and then things are hidden behind the bulge or whatever we want to call it.
Like mountains, yeah.
Yeah, and the simplification of that diagram is that it draws a straight line. That only happens if there's no atmosphere.
This is your conclusive evidence of why you've now changed your whole worldview, because you understand this so well. You don't understand gas, you don't understand a lot of stuff, but you understand this, right? And I'm just somebody that doesn't understand anything about the world, and I'm asking you to educate me on it. And from the very beginning of the explanation, you seem to have made an assertion that no matter what, we always have this consistent amount to the distance to the horizon, which is ultimately a fundamental flaw which someone's pointed out. So you won't even get past the first hurdle.
So you're arguing that so in a vacuum, it should be whatever, at a...
Yeah, in a vacuum, the geometric horizon and the apparent horizon would be the same.
Right, okay. Well, so you're arguing that, and then you're arguing that there's refraction. And what kind of refraction refracts it up, like, way back at 9.41 miles? What kind of refraction is that?
The kind where light...
Also, where'd you get that measurement?
Okay.
There's only one kind of refraction. There have been people who have come up with all different names for the various effects that refraction produces, and there's different inconsistent versions of those names.
Okay.
But refraction is just refraction.
You actually can see the light is bending all over that fucking oil tank or wherever it is. It's bending. That's all distorted. So it's bending light. So we have refraction.
Right, but I'm going to need a better explanation.
But in general, refraction of the atmosphere on the Earth will almost always bend light downward, moving the image of the object upward in your vision.
Right,
because you have a denser medium near the surface that gets less and less dense as you go up, producing a gradient, which produces that bending.
Right, and you're saying it does that to the tune of almost 4 times the distance. So I'm going to need a better explanation.
It depends on the exact conditions.
Well, right, but I'm showing you the black swan is one where it's almost 4 times.
That's a good number of degrees.
I don't care how much more it is. That's still consistent.
Well, you're making an assertion. You're making an assertion, and I need to understand it better. Because I'm debunking the idea that you're telling me that, it is there, but only in a vacuum it's going to show up at whatever, the 2.73 miles at whatever observer height. You're telling me that. And you're saying, well, no, it's refraction. I'm like, okay, well, that's a positive claim. Can I please understand the refraction better? Because 4 times...
if you want to understand...
Give us the conditions of the day that photograph was taken, and we can probably help you with the refraction.
If you want to understand refraction better, go read up on Snell's law. That's it in a nutshell. And we know Snell's law is accurate because we can make accurate optics. All optics work on Snell's law. Whether it's through the air, through a piece of glass, doesn't matter.
Okay.
But this is your conclusive evidence, so you should understand this better than us.
But Brummy, where did he get all these numbers from? He didn't get them from us.
He got them from a fucking fake fucking globe, a fake flat earth.
From Quantum Disgracer as well.
It's ridiculous. Like these are the people that you're putting your whole.
And that's fine. No, so that's interesting. So I haven't looked into Snell's law before, so I'm going to read about it because that's a good suggestion. Like, seriously, I'm a flat earther right now, and if I find out that it's a frickin' donut or a sphere, like you say, or whatever. You know what? Fair enough. I want the truth, man. So I'm going to look up Snell's law, but I would like... what surprises me, and why I haven't looked into it further, is that, we've been going through this black swan stuff for, 5 months or something, and not once has someone come up with a solid presentation on how the math works with Snell's law, where it sends the horizon 4 times.
The reason is no one goes on
through
object.
Hold on, no one goes on
Can you share one?
Just a moment.
I know that there are. Everyone I've watched has just been silly. So feel free to send me the best.
I even know the refractive index that was used on that. It was 11/6R, not 7/6R.
Oh,
so,
but the R is
John,
begging the question. I thought there was a kind of refraction that didn't involve R, because you're just assuming R there, which you don't have to use. That's a circular.
Did I say radius?
Right.
Oh, sorry.
What did
Which
my
R
R
is it?
represent?
Oh,
The
please tell
R
me.
is the refractive index. That's what they asked it.
Okay. Just send me a video.
It's not a video. It's a link to a refraction calculator or simulator.
And not read a book.
Anyway, so what this simulator shows, and this is some parameters that people have worked out that will produce the same effect that we see in the black swan images. At least some of them. There's several, and there's several variations in the presets there. This is a ray tracer, basically, where you can set up what atmospheric gradient you want to simulate objects at certain distances, and it gives you the results. And we get results that match the black swan image with that particular temperature gradient.
Okay, but I mean, so what I still don't understand, and maybe you have a great explanation for this, is why should the horizon be behind? So, okay, so you're saying that all of the light between. Wait. No, that doesn't make any sense. You're saying that. So the horizon is supposed to be between me and the first, right?
No. Between you and the first org, I don't remember how far the first org is, and it depends on your outfit.
It's not behind it. It's not behind it because that's what we're using as our distance, right? So it's somewhere between or behind the first one. Sorry, in front of the first one, right? But then wait. So what you're saying is then that the light from behind, I don't know. That doesn't make any sense, dude.
It traces out the lines for what the light is doing in that refraction simulator. Basically, and there's the particular example in the black swan image is a little bit more complicated because there's a little bit of a temperature inversion causing the wavy boom on one of the oil rigs. But ignoring that, what you have is denser air on the bottom and lighter air on the top, which gives you a density gradient that bends any particular array of light downward. That move from the observer's point of view, that moves the image of what you're seeing upward because the light is hitting your eye at a more downward angle.
Sorry, I'm just looking at this thing and playing around with it.
Sure.
Key thing to understand, if I can make a quick point, you mind?
Quick
point is, when this object is loomed up due to that downward refraction that was just mentioned, it angularly will be in a different spot in your field of view. So when you see it higher than it should be, that's an indication that things are refracted. You can work out.
I'm not looking for the object, man. I'm looking at the horizon. The objects are just distance markers.
Even
Can
the
I look
horizon.
at this fucking thing in peace?
Even the horizon.
The horizon. Okay.
The horizon also isn't higher in your.
You're literally discrediting your argument. So can you?
I'm not.
I would recommend.
No, I'm not. I'm just.
Yeah, you are in my mind. I'm hearing you say what he's saying. I actually want to look at. I'm interested. When I hear you talking, I hear double speaky bullshit.
No double speaky. The downward refraction causes objects to loom upward. That's a factor of downward refraction, looming. That creates a horizon that's further away. So when you look at that horizon, that should be 1.2 miles, and now it's 9 miles. It's not so much that it's 9 times further, 8 times further away.
Do you want me to be able to concentrate while I look at this demonstration, or do you want me to be confused?
Dumb it down. Dumb it down, Zanuck. Come on, you got to do it. This isn't the first thing you talk about flat Earth.
One thing to check in that simulator is near the top, there's checkboxes for eye level and geometric horizon. For the preset for the black swan type image, you'll notice that the horizon and the oil rigs are all above eye level because of the refraction.
The horizon and... Sorry, I haven't eaten supper, so that's why it's pissing me off that Zanuck's talking. It's hard to concentrate. Okay, sorry. What could you say? What you're saying again? I'm
in the simulator, if you're looking at it with the default settings for that preset, there's some checkboxes in the top left, and one of them is for the eye level and geometric horizon. Those show you where it would be. The geometric horizon being with no refraction at all, and eye level obviously being 0 elevation. With that preset, the visible horizon is above eye level because of the amount of refraction involved.
Like as in it's showing up further behind the second oil rig.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because of the difference in air density?
Yep.
Okay. But okay. How did the refraction make the horizon go behind a thing?
It did.
Well, it's behind.
I'm trying to think of the right wording for this. It's not that. It's not so much the horizon is moving; it's that it's making a new horizon. Like it's not a piece of land that got moved, or where you're seeing a piece of land get moved. It's a new horizon, and that's over a different piece of land, or water in this case.
Right. Okay. I see what you're saying.
And it moved, and it went to a different place for the same reason that the oil rigs are refracted, because the water surface is refracted as well.
Into it. Sorry. I'm switching back between windows. What did you say again?
Because just like the images of the oil rigs, what we see of the surface of the water is refracted as well.
Right. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Okay. Well, I need to play around with this a bit. There's a lot of knobs and dials and shit, so I'll take a look at it. I appreciate your explanation. I don't appreciate Zanuck, but thank you for your explanation. Sorry, who is this?
So what?
It's not Zanuck. That's all you need to know.
So I can improve my response next time.
You can shut the fuck up.
What you didn't like about my presentation?
Sorry, who was talking to me? Who gave me this curve calc or whatever?
It's Slacker. His name's Slacker.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Slacker. I appreciate that. You sound relatively honest. Much appreciated.
Try to be.
Cool.
Was that not being honest with you?
Shut.
Hopefully you can too.
You were just wordy.
You're triggering him, Zanuck. You have to stop.
Why would he trigger? I was trying to be nice to him.
Yeah, don't worry. He's not going to get you.
Well, as I got your date here, hold on. You want it in the chat?
Yeah, go on.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, guys. Slacker. Much appreciated.
Sure.
All right.
Hey, before you, are you planning to leave there, Mr. Travoltis?
Yeah, I was gonna go eat something. I'm pretty hungry.
Okay. Well, just Xanix posted for me because I asked him the date that the photograph was taken, and there was some forest fires around that time as well.
Okay.
So maybe you can look into the weather history and confirm that, because that would cause a bit of
like additional refraction.
An illusion to happen.
Yeah. Yep. All right. I'll take a look at it.
Evolution's not real,
and it's
man.
not a black swan,
right?
It's not a black swan either.
Well, that's fine. I'm gonna look at it. I'm not gonna make a decision right now. But I appreciate a sober explanation after being insulted repeatedly. But we got there, so it's all good.
No worries, dickhead. Have a nice day.
All right. Peace, guys.